Okay, let's bring in our panel. We've got Michael Pack joining us today. Michael is the president of Manifold Productions. We've also got the great Dan Ochsner from St. Cloud, Minnesota, the voice of Minnesota Talk Radio, and one of my best friends out there. Good to have you guys with us. Thank you, Michael. Start with the Oxman. We had a debate you guys heard a little bit earlier. We got Ben Shapiro going to Turning Point. This is why I don't go there. Blasting Candace Owens. We got Owens blasting him. We got Erica Kirk endorsing J.D. Vance 3 years out when we're going to get our ass kicked in the midterms. What makes some sense of all this for me, Ox?
Well, I've been going to some of Charlie Kirk's things, the Student Action Summit, the SAS in Tampa was at the one in July. And there's one element you're missing on this, John, and that is anybody over 45 years old that goes into those things will feel like they're 100. I've never felt so old and outdated in my life. It was like, what is going on here? And I don't mean to be degrading, but there's a certain smugness among the younger internet, if you will, generation who can be popular, not by earning their way into a broadcast show, right? Like you and I have all these years, not by doing any of this stuff, but simply by figuring out the clickbait thing. And that really gives them a sense of confidence and dare I say, superiority over old dinosaurs like you and me. And that's one of the awkward things about Turning Point, because they've got a lot of energy. They're excited. They don't have life experiences by and large, as you were alluding to. Probably haven't worked in the White House necessarily, haven't struggled. These are people by and large, I assume, have rich parents, because as a kid, I would never have been able to be wearing a suit and have a booth at a big fest or a big event going on, somewhere in Tampa or Dallas or Phoenix or wherever it is that they go. So there's something weird going on about that. But I tell you, John, I agree with you, what you're saying. It is frustrating to see the division. They're doing it for a business. It's a different world that they're living in, that you and I have been living in. And somehow, I agree with Larry, your last caller, somehow we got to all work together on this deal. But I think you and I never saw politics as a business, certainly not when we were in our teens and 20s, whereas these people are seeing it as a business, like you mentioned. So how that translates into votes for the good guys, great question. And I'm sorry to hear, too, that they're already endorsing the next president. We got a lot of real estate between now and the next presidential election.
I mean, I just couldn't believe it. It's like we got midterms coming up, and right now, if the election were held today, we lose 30 seats, and I'd bet the over, okay? It's a catastrophe. And we're talking about, J.D. Vance in 2028. I mean, let's get through 26.
Right. I'm still optimistic, by the way, about 2026. You know that. I'm sticking with that at this point. We'll see.
We got 1 year to turn it around. I mean, it's as simple as that. Let's bring in Michael Pack, president of Manifold Productions. Mike, lay out for us, for me and Ox, the post suggestion that 2 Afghan nationals arrested in separate violent incidents just 1 day apart shared a close military connection at a sensitive U.S. supported counterterrorism base in Afghanistan. Can you break this down for us, Michael?
Well, I mean, those things are very hard to track. We're doing a documentary with the Wall Street Journal on the withdrawal from Afghanistan and the role of the zero units, the NSU, is very controversial there. And, we needed their help to clear the airport. And then we took 30,000 of them and their families back to the United States as part of the deal. We made that deal, and now they're here. And that was the kind of vetting they had. We made a deal and we brought them in. And now we have to deal with it. And that's true for other parts of the world too, not just the United States. So, it's a tough one. And I agree with both of you about Turning Point. I mean, they used to have as their mission reaching out to kids on college campuses and not endorsing the next president. And to reach out to college kids, you need to be a broader organization. A lot of them are in the middle. A lot of those kids on college campuses are confused. And we, in our documentaries, both at Manifold Productions and my new company, Palladium Pictures, we try to reach the middle too. And people are not convinced by that kind of rhetoric. It does get clicks. But, Charlie Kirk was actually good at reaching out to people across the political spectrum. And you can't really do that by endorsing a president, engaging in this kind of debate, for which there are a lot of other institutions. But Turning Point, I think, should get back to its core mission of reaching out across the board to college students, with their basic fundamental message.
If I could jump in here too, the Turning Point events are fabulous. I mean, it's amazing what they do. Like you go into a convention center at a Turning Point event, you'd swear it was the Turning Point Convention Center. I mean, the stairs, the walls, the decorations, the carpet, everything is customized to Turning Point. They have a top-notch organization. This is not, the old sweaty backroom conservatives sitting around scratching their chins and trying to pontificate about foreign policy. I mean, these guys, this is a carnival. And they do it very, very well. So I hate to minimize it because they could really harness this. This is a group of young go-getters that really get marketing. They really get the energy of politics. And hopefully this is kind of just a phase they're going through and they can find their legs again after losing Charlie Kirk so tragically.
Well, I think they have to get back to their roots, right? I mean, should be talking about prosperity, economic security, future for many of our students on campuses that have anxiety about getting jobs. I mean, I'm fortunate, gentlemen, because none of my kids went through that. When they graduated, one became got his master's degree and became a teacher, and he was coveted. And my daughter dropped out of college and then, attended bar. She always made a lot of money doing that. I mean, she likes it. And then my other son's a ball player. So none of them have this fear that they're going to get out of college and can't get a job. And this is what we should be talking about, not Shapiro up there ranting and raving about Candace Owens or whatever, Tucker Carlson or something. I don't see what the purpose of that is.
And also, I think that the tragedy in Sydney indicates that even within that discussion, although I think anti-Semitism on the right is a real problem, it's really so much bigger on the left, where anti-Semitic Islamic terrorists have the support of nation states like Iran and are actually killing people around the world. So that is the more legitimate, I think, foreign policy anti-Semitic focus on anti-Semitism. But I agree with you completely. Turning Point should get back to its roots. I think the midterms, everyone knows, will be fought on the very economic issues you mentioned. That's what people care about. And I think Turning Point has been hugely successful in mobilizing young people in elections, especially. And that's the way to mobilize them next time. I agree with that completely.
Yeah, they got to get, I think to Dan's point, they got to get back to their roots, Dan.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are saying that too, and absolutely, they've got great amount of energy, but it's a monster. I mean, this organization is just a monster. Wow, talk about. I mean, I don't even know what it costs to put something like that on, but my goodness. And these people are coming in from all over the country. I've got a lot of my listeners who are in, is it Phoenix right now where the big event's going on?
Yeah.
They're there. They're sending me pictures. They're all excited to be there and everything. And like, wow, these guys are in their 40s. So, I mean, they're getting a lot of energy, but to focus it in the right place, I hope they're not just railroading people, to certain candidates and having it be a mouthpiece for certain candidates already. But they've got a lot of potential, and you can see it coming though. You could just see it coming. You could see this thing mushrooming into something that's just going to be out of control, and I think that's where it is right now.
And that, look, out of control could be good, it could be bad. Let's try to make it good.
Yeah.
And, I'm not involved in the organization. I went to the Phoenix thing one time and, it's a little bit different, but I did hear one of my colleagues was there, and I'm not going to tell you who, but person said to me that he's been there a number of times and that this one, he's older. He said, this one has got a weird vibe to it. and he didn't really describe the vibe. He just said it was a weird vibe. Have you heard any of that, Dan or Mike, from any of your associates?
I haven't. Mike?
I don't really know anybody actually who's there at the moment, except some of the headliners you mentioned. But I agree with you, Dan, that it's a huge and powerful organization, and actually Republicans will need it badly in the midterms. So it's a very important which way it goes. It's very tough. I mean, this is, to state the obvious, to lose your leader and then find your way. I mean, that very few organizations have managed to preserve their strength during that kind of a crisis. And I wouldn't want to minimize that difficulty. And so I agree with you. Let's give them a little rope and hope that they can find their way, you know, give them a little leeway. But it's a hard thing to come back to from. I mean, Erica Kirk has gotten a lot of attention and has done a good job in speaking, and people really care. But that's different from leading an organization, giving it direction, deciding what its focus should be. Whether she can do that, I don't know. You know, it remains to be seen. That's a very big challenge.
Yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah,
guys, thank you for being with us, Michael Pack. Michael, people want to follow you, get your documentary. Where do they go?
Well, my X is Michael Pack _, but I recommend they go to our two websites, manifoldproductions.com for older films and palladiumpictures.com for our newer ones.
All right. Thank you, Michael, for being with us.